It was a bright and sunny day on Earth. People went about their daily routines, enjoying the warm weather and the sounds of laughter. Children played in parks, and families shared meals outdoors. The world felt peaceful, and life seemed perfect. Little did they know that everything was about to change. In the afternoon, a strange shadow darkened the sky. People looked up, squinting against the sunlight. Massive ships, unlike anything they had ever seen, floated ominously above the city. They were sleek and metallic, glimmering in the sunlight, with strange symbols painted on their hulls. Panic spread quickly through the streets as people began to realize that these were not ordinary clouds. "Mom, what are those?" a young girl asked, her voice trembling. She clutched her mother's hand tightly. "I don't know, honey, but we need to get inside," her mother replied, her heart racing. Before anyone could react, the alien ships released a barrage of bright lights. Explosions rocked the ground as buildings crumbled, sending debris flying in every direction. Screams filled the air as people ran for safety. The aliens had launched their attack without warning. In the chaos, a group of brave firefighters rushed towards the flames, determined to save anyone they could. Captain James, the leader of the team, shouted orders to his crew. "Stay together! We can't let fear stop us!" The alien ships hovered above, their weapons glowing ominously. They fired beams of energy that disintegrated anything in their path. Cars exploded, and the ground shook as destruction rained down. It was clear the aliens had come with one purpose: to conquer. As the city descended into chaos, the news spread across the world. Reports of the invasion flooded television screens and social media. People watched in disbelief as the images of the attack played out in front of them. News anchors struggled to keep their composure, urging viewers to stay calm. "Stay inside! Follow emergency protocols!" they shouted. But the fear in their voices was clear. This was not a simple threat. This was an invasion. Amid the destruction, a group of soldiers stationed nearby sprang into action. Sergeant Maria and her team had been training for months, preparing for any situation. They quickly grabbed their weapons and rushed towards the nearest command center. "We can't let them take our home," Maria declared, her eyes filled with determination. As they reached the command center, they found others who were just as determined. Military leaders from different branches gathered to form a plan. They knew they had to act fast. General Thompson, a seasoned veteran, stood at the front, his voice steady. "We must unite. If we fight together, we stand a chance." The room buzzed with ideas as they discussed their options. Some suggested airstrikes, while others thought of defensive measures. But everyone knew one thing: they could not let the aliens succeed. The future of Earth depended on their bravery and strength. Outside, the battle raged on. Citizens began to fight back, armed with anything they could find. Some grabbed baseball bats while others picked up tools. Even though they were outmatched, their spirit shone brightly. They were not going to surrender without a fight. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the streets as an alien ship was struck down by a makeshift missile created by a group of engineers. Cheers erupted from the crowd, a small victory in the midst of despair. The humans felt a surge of hope. They realized that they were not just victims. They could fight back. As the sun began to set, the city lay in ruins, but the fire in the hearts of the people burned brightly. They were scared but ready to resist. They began to form groups discussing plans and strategies. They would not let the aliens take their home without a fight. Cliffhanger, just as the night fell, a loudspeaker from the alien ships boomed down, declaring, "Surrender now, or face the consequences." The humans looked at each other, fear and determination mixing in their eyes. They knew they had to prepare for what was coming next. As night fell, the city was filled with smoke and fear. The sounds of sirens and distant explosions echoed in the darkness. But amid the chaos, something remarkable began to happen. People started to come together. Neighbors who had never spoken before joined forces, united by the urgent need to protect their home. In a small community center, a group of brave men and women gathered. Among them was Sergeant Maria, who had rallied her fellow soldiers. The room buzzed with energy as everyone shared their ideas and concerns. Maria stood at the front, her heart racing with determination. "We can't let them win," she said, her voice strong. "We have to fight back together." The crowd nodded in agreement. A young engineer named David raised his hand. "I can help us build traps and weapons. I've been working on a project that can create makeshift bombs using everyday items," he announced. His enthusiasm sparked hope among the group. Great idea, said Lisa, a local teacher. If we work together, we can gather supplies from our neighborhoods. We can use anything we have. Another soldier, Private Ben, chimed in. We need to set up communication between our groups. If we know what everyone is doing, we can coordinate our attacks better. Everyone in the room felt the weight of their mission, but they also felt a sense of purpose. They were no longer just individuals, they were a team. They decided to split into groups. Some would gather supplies, others would build traps, and a few would scout the alien positions. As they moved out into the night, Maria took charge of one group. She led them through the streets, guiding them to a nearby hardware store. The shattered windows and fallen debris reminded them of the danger they faced. But they pushed on, driven by the desire to protect their loved ones. Inside the store, they quickly gathered tools and materials. Hammers, nails, and wires filled their arms as they rushed to create defenses. Maria noticed a couple of young teenagers watching from the doorway. "You two! Are you with us?" she called out. The teens exchanged glances and then nodded, their faces determined. "Yes, we want to help," one of them replied. "Then grab some ropes and flashlights. We'll need them," Maria instructed. With supplies in hand, they moved to an abandoned building nearby. It had a rooftop view of the city, perfect for keeping watch. They quickly got to work, building traps and setting up lookouts. David led the group in making makeshift explosives, using the materials they had scavenged. Each person felt a sense of pride in their contribution. As dawn approached, the humans had made significant progress. They had traps hidden throughout the streets and communication set up between different teams. The city might be damaged, but its spirit was not broken. They had transformed their fear into action, ready to face the aliens head-on. Meanwhile, the alien ships continued to hover above, unaware of the humans' preparations. Their arrogance blinded them to the growing strength of the Earth's defenders. They believed their advanced technology made them unbeatable, but they had underestimated the human spirit. As the first light of morning broke, the resistance gathered once more. Maria stood before them, her heart swelling with pride. "Look at what we've accomplished together! We are no longer just a group of scared individuals. We are a force to be reckoned with. Today we fight for our families, our friends, and our home." The crowd erupted in cheers, their voices filled with newfound courage. They were ready to take a stand. As they prepared for the battle ahead, a sense of unity filled the air. Each person knew that they were fighting not just for themselves, but for every person on Earth. Cliffhanger, just as they finished their preparations, a loud explosion shook the ground. The alien ships had noticed the movement on the ground and were beginning to attack. "We have to move! It's time to show them what we're made of!" Maria shouted, and the resistance surged forward, ready to face the invaders. The morning sun rose slowly over the city, casting a golden light on the devastation. Smoke still curled up from the ruins of buildings, but the air was charged with a new energy. The human resistance was ready. They had trained hard, built traps, and united under a common goal to drive the aliens away from their home. Maria stood at the front of the gathered crowd, her heart racing. "Today is our day," she shouted, raising her weapon high. "We fight not just for survival, but for our future." The group cheered, their spirits lifted by her words. Each face showed determination and courage. They knew the aliens would not go down without a fight, but they were prepared to face whatever came next. As the humans spread out into the city, they moved carefully. David led a team to the rooftops, where they set up makeshift sniper positions. They had modified ordinary rifles to shoot projectiles that could pierce the alien ship's armor. With a few extra supplies, they created small explosives that could be launched from the rooftops. Meanwhile, Maria took another group to the streets. They had set traps along key pathways where the aliens were likely to pass. They used ropes, boxes, and anything else they could find to create barriers and snares. The goal was to slow down the enemy and confuse them. As they finished their preparations, a loud roar filled the air. The alien ships hovered closer, scanning the ground below. Maria raised her hand. "Everyone get into position. Stay quiet and wait for my signal." The resistance fell silent, their hearts pounding in anticipation. They watched as the first alien soldiers began to descend from their ships. They were tall and imposing, wearing dark armor that glinted in the sunlight. The humans felt a chill run down their spines. These were not just mindless creatures, they were trained warriors. Suddenly, Maria spotted the first alien unit heading towards their trap. She took a deep breath, her mind racing. Now, she shouted, and the humans sprang into action. As the aliens approached the first trap, the ground suddenly gave way beneath them. The hidden pit was a perfect surprise, and several aliens tumbled in, unable to escape. The humans cheered, but they knew this was just the beginning. From the rooftops, David and his team took their shots. They fired the modified rifles with precision, hitting the alien soldiers before they even knew what was happening. Explosions erupted as their makeshift bombs detonated, scattering debris and sending shockwaves through the enemy ranks. The tide of battle was turning in favor of the humans. "Keep it up! We can do this!" Maria yelled, inspiring her team. The streets were alive with the sounds of gunfire and explosions. The humans fought with every ounce of strength they had, refusing to back down. As the fighting continued, the aliens began to realize they were facing a fierce resistance. Their confidence started to waver, and they sent out more troops to deal with the unexpected threat. But the humans were ready. They had laid traps throughout the city, and every time an alien soldier stepped into one, the humans cheered. Amid the chaos, Maria spotted a group of civilians fighting back, using anything they could find. A baker wielded a rolling pin like a weapon, while a group of teenagers tossed rocks at the aliens. Their bravery inspired her. The entire city was united in this battle. But just as victory seemed within reach, a loud rumble filled the air. The alien ships began to fire back, their beams of energy slicing through the streets. The humans ducked for cover, but they did not lose hope. They had come too far to give up now. "Fall back! Regroup!" Maria shouted. The resistance quickly moved to safer positions, but they didn't stop fighting. They kept pushing, using every tactic they had learned. With each alien that fell, the humans grew stronger and more determined. As the battle raged on, the aliens realized they had underestimated the resilience of humanity. The tide of war was shifting, and the humans were striking back harder than anyone had anticipated. Cliffhanger, just when it seemed like the humans might win, a massive alien warship descended from the clouds. Its weapons glowed menacingly, and the resistance felt a wave of fear wash over them. "Get ready!" Maria yelled, her heart pounding. They would have to face their greatest challenge yet. The massive alien warship loomed above the city, casting a dark shadow over the battlefield. Its sleek design and powerful weapons made it clear that this was no ordinary ship. As the humans looked up, fear and determination mixed in their hearts. They had already fought hard, but now they faced their greatest challenge yet. Maria stood at the front of her team, her mind racing. "We need to take that ship down!" she shouted, her voice steady despite the chaos around her. "If we don't, the aliens will destroy everything." The resistance nodded, a fierce determination shining in their eyes. David, still positioned on the rooftops, quickly assessed the situation. "I can see weak points in its armor," he yelled down to Maria. "If we hit those spots, we might be able to disable its weapons." He pointed at a glowing area on the ship's side. "Great. We need to get as many people up there as possible," Maria replied. She quickly organized her team, splitting them into two groups. One would keep the alien soldiers busy on the ground, while the other would rush to the rooftops to help David. As the humans moved, the alien warship unleashed its first strike. A beam of energy shot down, hitting a nearby building. It crumbled into dust, sending debris flying. The humans ducked for cover, but Maria felt a surge of adrenaline. "We can't let them scare us. Move out!" The first group charged forward, engaging the alien soldiers in fierce combat. The streets were alive with gunfire and explosions as the humans fought back. Every step they took was a step towards reclaiming their home. Meanwhile, the second group raced to the rooftops, where David had already set up his makeshift sniper post. "I need cover," he yelled. "If I can get a clear shot, I can hit that weak point." Maria's team provided covering fire, their weapons blazing as they fought off the aliens. The humans were working together, relying on one another's strengths. They were no longer just a group of individuals. They were a powerful force, united in their mission. On the rooftops, David focused intently on the alien warship. His heart pounded as he took aim. He felt the weight of the moment. This shot could change everything. He took a deep breath and squeezed the trigger. The modified projectile soared through the air, striking the weak point on the ship. A loud explosion erupted, shaking the ground beneath them. The warship rocked violently and its weapons sputtered. David cheered, feeling a rush of excitement. "I think I hit it! Keep going!" With renewed hope, Maria and her team pressed the attack. The alien soldiers were beginning to panic. They had expected an easy victory, But the humans were proving to be fierce opponents. As the battle intensified, more aliens poured from the warship. The resistance fought hard, using every trap and weapon they had created. Each alien that fell only fueled their determination. They would not back down. But just as victory seemed close, the alien warship fired back. The air crackled as energy beams shot down, destroying more buildings and pushing the humans back. Maria felt a pang of fear, but quickly pushed it aside. "We need to regroup and strategize," she shouted. They pulled back to a safer position, huddling together to plan their next move. "We can't let fear take over." "We need to find a way to finish this," Maria urged. David, still on the rooftop, shouted down, "If we can create a distraction, I can get another shot." "Good idea. We can use smoke bombs to cover your position," Maria replied. The team quickly began to gather materials for the distraction. They worked together, their hands moving quickly and efficiently. As they prepared, the warship fired again. But this time, the humans were ready. They unleashed smoke bombs, filling the air with thick, dark clouds. The aliens struggled to see through the haze. "Now, David, take the shot!" Maria yelled. David aimed once more, his heart racing. With a steady hand, he pulled the trigger. The projectile flew true, hitting another weak point on the warship. This time, the explosion was even bigger. The warship shook violently, and alarms blared from within. The humans cheered, their spirits lifted. But the fight was not over yet. The aliens were still coming, and the humans had to stay strong. Cliffhanger. Just as they prepared for the final push, the warship began to descend. It was going to land in the middle of the city, and the aliens were ready for a ground assault. "Get ready for anything!" Maria shouted, her heart pounding as the battle reached its peak. The alien warship descended slowly, its massive form blocking out the sun. It landed in the center of the city with a loud thud, shaking the ground beneath the feet of the humans. Maria's heart raced as she gathered her team. "This is it! We must stop them before they can launch a full attack!" The resistance was battered but not broken. Each person had fought hard, and now they stood together for one final push. Maria looked into the eyes of her team. "We fight for our homes, our families, and for the future of humanity. Are you with me?" "Always," they shouted in unison. As they approached the warship, the doors opened, and alien soldiers poured out. Their eyes glowed with anger, and they were ready for a fight. Maria raised her weapon, and the humans began firing. The air was filled with the sounds of gunfire and alien shrieks. David, still on the rooftops, spotted a group of aliens trying to flank Maria's team. "I've got you covered!" he yelled, aiming his rifle. He fired, hitting the aliens one by one. His accuracy gave the ground team a moment to regroup. "Thank you, David," Maria shouted, her heart filled with gratitude. She saw an opportunity. "Let's push forward!" With renewed determination, they charged toward the warship, pushing back against the alien soldiers. As they fought, Maria noticed the aliens were losing their organization. The humans' unexpected strength and unity confused them. With every alien that fell, the humans grew more confident. They moved like a well-oiled machine, each person covering the other's blind spots. The battle raged on, but the tide was clearly turning in favor of humanity. The remaining alien soldiers began to falter, their faces showing fear and desperation. Maria shouted to her team, "Now is our chance! Let's end this." With a powerful surge, the humans pushed into the heart of the alien forces. They fought fiercely, determined to protect their world. Maria felt the fire of hope within her as she saw her friends standing tall beside her. As they closed in on the warship, the aliens became frantic. They started to retreat, scrambling to get back into their ship. But the humans were relentless. David took another shot, hitting the warship's main entrance just as the last of the aliens were trying to escape. The explosion rocked the ship and smoke billowed out from the entrance. Maria raised her weapon high, signaling her team. "Keep moving forward! We must finish this!" The humans pressed on, charging into the warship's interior. They found themselves in a dark corridor, the walls lined with strange symbols and lights. But there was no time to be afraid. They moved together, clearing each room one by one. Suddenly, they encountered the alien commander, a towering figure with glowing eyes. The commander snarled, its voice deep and threatening. "You humans are nothing. You will fall before us!" But Maria stood her ground, her heart pounding with courage. "Not today! We will fight for our home!" She fired her weapon, hitting the commander square in the chest. The alien staggered back, shocked by the strength of the humans. With a roar, the commander retaliated, but Maria's team quickly surrounded it. David took aim once more from his position and fired. The shot struck the commander, and with a final, desperate shriek, it fell. As the alien leader lay defeated, the remaining soldiers fled in panic. The humans surged forward, cheering as they took control of the warship. They had done it. Against all odds, they had defeated the aliens. Outside, the city was alive with celebration. Humans flooded the streets, their faces filled with joy and relief. They hugged and cheered, united in their victory. Maria looked around, tears of happiness filling her eyes. They had fought hard and triumphed against a powerful enemy. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the city, Maria knew this victory was only the beginning. They had shown the universe that humans would not be easily defeated. Together they had stood strong, proving that unity and courage could overcome any challenge. Cliffhanger, but as the celebrations continued, a strange ship appeared in the sky, its lights blinking ominously. The humans gazed up, their hearts sinking. Had their fight truly come to an end, or was this just the start of another battle?